Well, hey there. It's Jean, the homeschooling mentor here at Art of Homeschooling, where I have the honor of helping hundreds of homeschooling parents find ways to make homeschooling work in your family. So here we are, and thank you. First of all, just thank you so much for joining me here and listening in today. I really want to talk about curiosity. It's something we encourage in our children, but I think it's something we can also apply to ourselves and our own thinking. So today I want to share with you 3 really simple steps to help overcome overwhelm. It's something we often encounter as homeschooling parents. And I know, well, first of all, this idea came up in a coaching call that I was doing yesterday with I have a membership of a group of homeschooling parents who I work with every week. And we were having this conversation about how we get into this mind trap of feeling like we have to force ourselves to get through the day, really. And I know the pandemic has really influenced how we feel a lot of the time. But I want to talk about how curiosity can be a tool, right? Can be a creative and fun way for us to just make subtle shifts in our perception, right, of our work that we do in the world. So I'm very aware that overwhelm is something we live with as homeschooling parents, right? Parenting in general, but I think as homeschoolers even more so. So I homeschooled my kids are grown now, but I homeschooled for 25 plus years. And we have that feeling of overwhelm because of all the things, right, that we sort of have jurisdiction over, the lessons and the laundry and the meals and everything, right? So some days, I know for me, some days I would wake up and think that I would feel like I was behind before my feet even hit the floor, right? And then that feeling of overwhelm can really cloud our creativity, our intuition, our ability to bring the lessons to our children in a way that engages them and lights everybody up. So this idea of observation and curiosity is what I really want to focus on. And I'm going to give you 3 steps that you can take today that can help avert the overwhelm. And then at the end, if you're really interested in this kind of work, I'm going to share with you an experience that I'm leading starting in March called the Inner Work Journey, where we are really delving deeper into this very kind of thing. So let's first talk about curiosity and its relationship, I think, to observation. So Rudolf Steiner, the founder of the Waldorf approach, said that, I even have a quote here. He said that one of our main ways that we assess our children, and he was talking about in a classroom, but I think this is even more doable in a homeschool setting. He said that the way we assess our children and how they're progressing is through observation. But what happens to us when we're overwhelmed is that it's all clouded with judgment. So when we're trying to observe how our children are doing, we go through this mind spin of, well, the next door neighbor is way ahead of where my child is, or, all this judgment of them and of ourselves. So here is a quote that I want to share with you from Rudolf Steiner. He said, and I think this is really helpful, like, observe the children, actively meditate, follow your intuitions. This can be surprising to some people who know the curriculum, because so often we get caught in the trap of follow the curriculum. But really, this self-development is at least equally important to the curriculum. So I want to apply this idea of curiosity to us, right? Because we're the leaders. We're the ones who are bringing the lessons to our children. So today I'm going to share with you these 3 steps, right, that can really help. They're super, super simple, and they can help us change or shift old thought patterns that we might have so that we can find a sense of peace, right? A sense of serenity, a feeling like, okay, this is working. I'm doing this thing. And here's the hint. You got it from the title, right? Maybe it's what drew you here. Curiosity is the key. Okay, so here's how it works. Step 1 is to just notice, right? Just notice what's going on. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe you have this tendency to judge, and you notice that you wake up feeling like you have too much to do today, like I said in my example, or you feel like, oh, I don't have the energy to do these lessons today. So that sense of overwhelm, just notice it. Like, look at that. This is how I'm feeling today. Step 2 is to decide to change the thoughts that you have about that. So often our thoughts are something like, I'm never going to get this all done, right? Or I have so much to finish by the end of the day. And we want to shift that to something like, I have all the time I need for the things that matter most to me. Now, sometimes that doesn't work, because when we have the initial thought of, oh, I'm never going to get it all done, and then we try to just flip the thought, we don't really believe it, so it doesn't stick. So maybe what you need is to go more slowly and say something like, I'm going to make the time today for these things that matter most, or I'm only going to do the things that matter most today. Or I'm going to pick the top 3 things that matter most today, and I'm going to focus on those. So setting some parameters around that sense of, oh, I'm never going to get it all done, and changing the way you respond, right? We need to let go of the judgment, just notice, and then decide to change our thought about it. And then the third thing is just to try it out. Try that new thought out. It takes some practice. So every time the old thought comes up of, oh, I'm never going to get all of this done, or, oh my gosh, there are too many responsibilities on my shoulders, whatever it might be, that needs to be a trigger to shift the thought. And then when it is, like when we do shift the thought, we have to practice that new thought for a while. Sometimes we need to be a little more stern with our overwhelm or the thoughts that come flooding into our minds, and say something like, dear overwhelm that's telling me that I'm never going to get it all done, I'm on to you. I don't need your help today, right? Or sometimes we just need to be kind to that feeling that floods us with, whatever it is that comes up most regularly for you. Sometimes we need to say, oh, hello, overwhelm. I'm quite familiar with you, but I've got this. I don't need your help today. Whatever it is, those subtle shifts in our thinking can really make a huge difference. And being curious and playful ourselves, we talk about wanting to encourage that in our children, but being curious and playful with our own thoughts and feelings can make a huge difference in how we show up every day for our kids. All right, because curiosity, that sense of curiosity, can actually energize us and help our life, our day, our vocation feel not quite so heavy in the world. And this is how mindfulness and inner work can really bring us more contentment, right, in our homeschooling lives. All right, I hope that was helpful to you. If you want to dive into these concepts even more, I invite you to consider joining me for Inner Work Journey. It is an online 12-week experience. It's an immersive experience where we meet 6 times on Zoom in a small group of homeschooling moms, and really work through some exercises like this to help you look at your thoughts and your feelings, set boundaries in your relationships, and really pay attention to strengthening yourself for the work that you do in the world. We start March 2nd. So if you're interested, you can go check out the, here is the link, artofhomeschooling.com/innerworkjourney, and you will find all the details there. I would love to have you join. If you have questions or want me to send you the direct link, you can DM me here and I would be glad to get that over to you, or you can ask me any questions that you might have. But I'd love to have you join in. This is the second year that I've led a group through this, and it is such a joy. I mean, it's work that I'm constantly doing myself, right, as just being a human on this planet, but it's also such a joy to inspire homeschooling moms to take good care of themselves and take the time to work on our thoughts and feelings and how those then determine our actions and how we show up in our homeschools. So Inner Work Journey starts March 2nd, and I would love to see you there. All right, thanks again for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.